Hi, my name is Deborah Ackerson, formerly Deborah Lovely. I'm a two-time Olympian and a five-time Commonwealth Games medalist competing for Australia in Olympic weightlifting. I've been competing for Australia for 20 years at the elite level. I was selected to play women's rugby as well for Australia, and also came third in the world as a discus thrower. Was a state champion and top five in track cycling in Australia too. So I've had a lot of experience competing at the top level. I'm an international level coach, national level official, and I've been a director of our national sport for 5 years. I'm also a legal professional, degree in law and criminology, and I'm currently doing my master's in education. And I was actually part of the first ever women's weightlifting team that was allowed to compete at the Commonwealth Games in 2002 in women's weightlifting. It took 52 years of men competing until the women were allowed to compete. My last Commonwealth Games, my fifth Commonwealth Games at the Gold Coast in 2018, was where I competed against a biological male under the title of a transgender athlete. I'm not competing anymore, but my extreme concern is for both elite women competing in a safe and fair competition, and particularly for girls to have the chance to play in community and competitive sport in those safe, fair conditions. I'm one of the very few elite female athletes in Australia that have competed against a transgender athlete and have experienced the damaging effects of competing against that athlete. It ended my weightlifting career because I had no chance of ever getting the world record that I really wanted to get and was aiming for, because this biological male increased that record by 20 kilos on each lift, which was utterly impossible for me to aim to get. So the Olympics to me is about testing the best of our physical strength. It's not about testing our identities. It's not about anything else except seeing who is the fastest, the strongest, who has the best, the strength in those conditions. I have been blood tested, drug tested, and gender tested to prove that I am a female for over 20 years. Having drug testers turn up to my house to test me to prove that my testosterone levels are way, way, way down in the level that they should be for a female. So to line up against a man, a biological male, 40 plus kilos heavier than me, really felt completely at odds with every anti-doping message and all other tests of fairness that I'd been stringently put under my whole life since I was a 13-year-old. Girls will not want to play. They will not want to compete in many sports against boys. My daughter came fourth in judo in Australia, age 10. She's incredibly strong. But for her, she's been injured quite a few times when training against the boys. Girls will give up. Girls will not want to compete and train with boys in the team or be competitive and try and compete against boys. They want friends. They'll stay in sport with their friends and competing with other girls at a fair level. Junior sport and community sport, it is the pathway for our elite women. That is how we get our elite female athletes. And if these girls get injured or self-exclude, we'll have no more elite athletes, or at least very few. We have always had, around the world, men's and women's categories for a reason. No world or Olympic record has ever been better in the women's category than the men's category, as far as I know. My daughter also played mixed soccer, which is fine, but to a point, because she competed against, in a mixed team and got kicked in the face by a boy and just told me that she would never play ever again. And she hasn't. That was 3 years ago. So for 99% of girls, probably 99.9% of girls, they will not want to be in this situation. And it's unfair to put them in that situation. I don't understand how we'll allow not only the competition with boys and girls, with transgender boys in the category with girls, but also into change rooms and toilets. That also greatly concerns me as a mum of 3 girls. I just can't understand why anyone who has sisters, mothers, daughters would ever think that this will work or will be fair in any way. I just think we're going to see a lot of years of girls and women giving up, or at least getting injured, if they are to compete against boys or biological males in this situation. One tiny little issue, which is a huge issue for girls, is navigating sport during their period. And that alone is a major thing. So having a boy compete in the same situation with them, it's just gonna make girls give up or self-exclude. I just want to see girls competing in sport for enjoyment and also at the top level to try and compete to do their best and obviously win. It's not good enough to say that this won't affect all the girls, that it's not a big issue, because it is. And if it affects one, it's going to affect all, and many, many more. So the principle is that girls and women must be protected and given the opportunity to compete in a fair environment. Thank you.